may be that someone's opinion would say, this whole ritual process is for the birds. Yah may be saying, no, my rituals are about revelation. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 4, the Torah portion, Metzora, the afflicted one. Let's go to chapter number 13, or excuse me, chapter 14 again of the book of Leviticus. And let's read verse 4 and 5. Then the priest shall command, and he shall take for him who is to be cleansed 2 live and clean birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And the priest shall command, and he shall slay one of the birds in an earthen vessel over running water. Let him take the live bird and the cedar wood and the scarlet and the hyssop, and dip them and the live bird into the blood of the bird that was slain over the running water. And he shall sprinkle it 7 times on him who is to be cleansed from the leprosy, and shall pronounce him clean, and let the live bird loose in the open field. So isn't that just a bunch of Torah legalisms? Is that something that we need to be involved with now? Why is that even important to us? Life is found in the details of the Torah. And we may get tired of reading what we think or discern as redundant or overly stated. But Yah, in every word, every letter, every form of every word, every unique enlargement or diminutive state of a letter, everything about the Torah is important. And when you see rituals, when you see unusual spellings, etc. in the Hebrew, we should see flags waving at us and saying, hey, look over here and pay attention. I'm trying to give you a clue. It is a reality that Yah does not lay everything out on a table in plain view with point after point of step-by-step instructions and say, this is the rest of your life. He's wanting us to feel after him, search for him, find his face, find his favor, walk after him, learn of his ways. And let's just be also and understand, if he downloaded all that we needed to know about him and about this walk that we're in all at once, we'd drown. We couldn't handle it. So he gives it to us in bite-sized morsels, so to speak, piece by piece, part by part. So let's break down this ritual that we've just taken a glance at again. And there are lists of possible interpretations and analogies that can be made. But let's look at just a few here. The bird that dies could represent then the life or the fleshly life, the fleshly attitude of the Metzora, the one stricken with Sarat. The earthen vessel, it's not a metal vessel, it's an earthen vessel. Earthen vessels represent then our lives, this human body. You can look and compare 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 7 for that. And then we see that blood is shed in an earthen vessel. Yeshua's blood was shed in an earthen vessel. One thought is that the scarlet wool is yarn taken from a lamb and dyed red. This lamb or this scarlet yarn then was used to tie hyssop, which is a symbol used both at Passover, Pesach, and at Yeshua's crucifixion, onto the tree. Yeshua nailed to a tree or to cross member beams, ever how your interpretation is. Was it cedar? Was that cross beam cedar? The living bird then is dipped into the blood of the first blood, over running, or may we say living waters. The living bird then is covered with the blood of the bird that gave its life and then let loose in an open field. This may be then a picture of the leper. He's died to himself and now he's walking in the newness of life. It's possible that the two birds represent the two comings of Yeshua. First, he came and he walked among us as clay vessels. He poured out his word, the living water. His blood then was shed to make way for his second coming as the king. The second bird is bloodied, but not injured, a picture of the resurrected Yeshua, who still bears scars from that death. Thomas, stick your finger into the wounds in my hand. His garments will be covered with blood when he returns to earth. Revelation chapter 19, verse 11 through 14 describes. It could be that these two birds represent the two houses of Israel. We have one bird that is slain, that is the bird from Judah or Yehuda, Yeshua. This bird was slain in an earthen vessel over living water. He died so that his blood could cover the other bird that we can call maybe the house of Israel, Joseph, the house of Joseph, or Ephraim. Blood covered Ephraim. It is the house of Ephraim that declares the blood of Yeshua almost exclusively, whether that is the portion that we see in Christianity or that portion in Messianic Judaism or that portion in Hebrew roots. This blood-covered bird, declaring the blood of the first bird, is then set free in an open field. That is, he has been dispersed into the world, free to tell the other birds about the one who died and set him free. Interesting. The cedar, the hyssop, the scarlet, they're all unique items that are also used in applying blood to the lentils at Pesach and the marking or the making of the waters from the ashes of the red heifer. The ashes of the red heifer waters are used to cleanse those that are defiled by death. Yirmiyahu chapter 3 verse 8 says that we have been given a get, a certificate of death. The ashes of the red heifer, the waters produced from that, cleanses us from that decree and calls us alive again, resurrected. The red heifer causes those then with uncleanness due to death to become clean, and it also is used to inaugurate the Levites into their priesthood. Amazing. So when this former Metzora enters the camp, he's completely shaven, no hair on his body. What does that resemble? A Nazir, one who's taken a Nazirite vow, who has just elevated his status to a great place. So the Metzora, who was stricken with Surat, who repented and is now cleansed and restored, is readmitted back into the camp at a higher place than he was when he was there previously. Now, none of us want to go through this extreme process to find spiritual elevation. But Kepha, 1 Peter chapter 5 says to us, "Humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of Elohim, and he will exalt you in due season, due time." We just might not be aware of the process that we need to go through. And so he's gone out in shame, the Metzora did, and disease. But he re-enters into the camp, set apart and called to significance. This is a picture that of the restoration that Yah wants to give to us. You and I are not being called out of the corners of exile to just stand along the wall and watch everyone else participate in something that is grand and significant. You are part of the main event. Yah is calling you out of obscurity, out of defilement, out of death, out of your self-destruction, out of your previous existence, into a place where you stand powerful, cleansed, washed, and included. Think on these things, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Until then, shalom.